am live. I am live. I am live. Peace. Okay, so I just found out a good thing. Um, I should really explain what I'm up to, but look what we can do. Oh wow. Maybe you can already see it and it's not going to be so impressive, but I can see it and it's going to be impressive for me. There. Now I have a whiteboard that I can write on whilst I'm making videos. So I should tell you what I'm up to. Uh, 11 years ago, I became really fascinated in the logicization question. Now, this is not an unanswered question. This is not a question. The logicization program is like this failed thing that really has two very clear examples, and one of them isn't. It's a thing that everyone thought isn't possible. If I'm anywhere near correct on like my general premise, and let's say I could throw away 15/16 of my independent discoveries and still be more famous than I want to be. Because I've been looking for 11 years for what, if it did happen, would be like the sequel to Einstein's theory, for instance. And I'm gonna tell you more new stuff about circles than who's come out with more new stuff about circles all at once. I don't think anyone has. I'm scared. But the best, I mean, all I've really been waiting for, I have non-neurotypicality. Uh I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for that. Oh yes. So I'm just gonna watch this back in a second and see, do I have those? What have I got? I can remove it. Well, I don't really need that. Um I can prepare slides that I'll be able to bring up in advance. That's something I can definitely do and just be like, well, I want that picture now. Okay, so we're getting here. I gotta tell you about inline logic. I've got to tell you about, oh gosh, model extensions of model extensions. I've got to tell you about grammar. I've got to tell you about the right angled triangle at the edge of a circle. Um, oh my goodness, this is a good day because we found the existence sign over here on the right. Amazing. Ah, oh, look at your tautology. We're going to be writing logic on here and we're going to make clear the logicization program, third millennium edition. Ah, subhanallah, this is going to be good fun for anyone who likes math, to anyone who likes logic, for anyone who has a big interest in science or epistemology or theology. You got like a little Isaac Newton-y type thing, and she's terrified. Uh, it's good. There's never been one of us that hasn't been like massively obsessed with the fact that there's only one God. Massively obsessed. I'm non-neurotypical. I'm massively obsessed. Yeah, I've been hospitalized for that. Um, there's one God. La ilaha illallah. Um, there's only one for all n. There exists n. Is that even true? That seems really weird now I say it. Doesn't it? It's like a Mobius strip. No, no, kinda. I want to see it, the second one in the brackets, but it doesn't make a difference. No, it doesn't make a difference. Uh, oh wow. We're really gonna logic with those symbols. It's not that I haven't ever written down before. I don't find much of my writing very presentable, so I never want to look back at it or type it out. Oh, I've got so many inventions. Just the world gets better once I get some platform. It's been awful. Um, I want to get the world better for everyone and way more platform for everyone. Oh, guys, seriously, the second millennium is done. We need major changes, but that's okay. I'm gonna try taking over as queen because God said so. And there's a Church of England just sitting there without a leader. And um, I want Rastafarianism taught in schools. Start there. He stopped a war by talking politely. It's incredible. Buckets of faith, self-evident faith. It's the closest thing that you can get to a miracle and point at it and go, yeah, there's that. That's a thing that we're supposed to look at and go, oh yeah, there's one of those. I think it's that. A lot of my writing has stuff an explicitly Islamic lilt to it. That's not very much allowed these days. It's terrible. As I tell you, I got imprisoned for this. Um, it's all okay. My skin is paler than my teeth. I can tell you what I have so far and what I don't have. What I have so far, a lot of inventions, a lot of things that are practical, and then theoretical, which kind of comes first, because as soon as I hit you with the theoretical stuff, I get to say, well, here's the practical stuff. And people will make it, people will hurry to be the person who makes it, whereas I can't make it. I can make the theoretical stuff. What's the theoretical stuff? Well, I'm pretty sure I got simple arithmetic in minimal and absolutely minimal logic. I've put logic on better epistemological grounds, finding it as a thing within the universe through actually a proof which is analytical and empirical at the same time. Um, like one inference, which is both, which seems pretty good. Certainly, no one's gonna think that there's no such thing as truth once I'm done with them. We prove that basically logic exists, and then there are certain kinds of statements that you need a certain number of things for them ever to be true. Um, we make a lot of use out of that because that's our analog for number. We use this technique where basically wherever we want to introduce a new concept, we just got to say it twice in two different ways, and that makes a theorem. Um, we find that as soon as we've got orderings, we've got reverse orderings, and so we've always got layers of arbitrariness that we keep note of, and they don't mess up the logical validity of our sentences overall because we're dealing with conditions and we create the right condition for this other thing to be true. Um, it's nowhere near as difficult as Principia Mathematica makes it look. Um, Gosh, I would really love to tell this story at some point, but the story has been amazing before I have even said anything, whilst it's been completely by myself. Like, in my last video I got excited. I could have passed that off, it's just I never heard of that other thing, although it came out on the same day. I did hear about the other idea and then think, what if we had light mill computers? I still haven't seen that through. I've mostly been just murmuring. I'm nervous, which is why I'm murmuring, oh, and getting used to being on camera, sort of as the person who's going to tell you about the math, yeah. As you can see, I'm not very healthy. I haven't eaten a cooked meal in like 5 months because that's how the government here treats me. Like, accidentally better than someone who is treated worse. Is that true of you? Um, Practical. I want to replace all the representative democracies with real-time voting, where everyone has an equal vote. You could even tweak it so that like NHS related decisions give double votes to NHS workers and stuff like that, so that you would sign up with optionally a profile that says who you are, and on certain specific topics, just to be nerdy about it, you could have, I don't know, certain people having extra weight because it affects them most or they should know best. But the design is that you would be able to, anyone in the world, or anyone with a British national security number or something, say add, remove, or edit this law this year, and then it brings up a thing where, say, okay, well, I want this line to change, or I want this to be the new draft, or I want the whole thing deleted. And then if it gets enough votes, the top proposal as to what to do with that law gets passed into law immediately. A reservation that lots of people have had about this, whereas, okay, so first, paper ballots aren't very secure. Paper ballots, if we use a computer somewhere, they're not more secure than using a computer. They're already not securer than a computer because they're made of paper. So that if we wanted to have, I mean, the same level of security as your bank has for a voting machine, we could have that. That's all good. Now there's at least good reason if we were going to leave that going and be the government, be a way cheaper government that makes way better decisions because there's way more people thinking about it. You know, you're not really worried about how many people voting on stuff, but the ideas that come out of it are going to be way better. And people can work together on a big scale on like plans for the country together for the next, and they just float around as drafts, but people could really go deep on it. And once it's there, if enough people want it, click it up, seems good. It's very much related to abstract charity, which had within its core design the idea that almost exactly the same system, but when it gets enough votes, you get money because people put money in the start. It's like Kickstarter, but with the money there in advance because it's charity, and we want to start off with just a few billion, and then throw it out to really, really good causes, really, really effectively and like narrowly and whatever. A big part of that was that people who wanted to participate with, oh, okay, so I love the idea that you want to make a soup kitchen in London. Good. Let's like make you a flyer and just try and help you to be one of the things that gets upvoted. I suppose there would be room for that too within the internet party or whatever you call the online voting machine. Many years ago, I had this idea that you could do that the hard way, if the government hadn't failed by itself, you could run in some like university, Swingtown, just on a hard platform of I'm running as an independent. I'm going to get a seat in Westminster. My seat in Westminster is attached to a website. Whatever the top opinion is on the website, that's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to be there at every single discussion. So I'm going to be like none of the MPs. I'm going to be at every single discussion, and I'm just going to say what my website says. And okay, I'm going to be sensible about it. That if someone says we need the law to say no trousers or something, no, everyone's allowed trousers. Um, Using lots of people to crowdsource ideas and even crowdsource decision making shouldn't sound radical within a democracy. And well, I believe that once you get one seat like that, then people are like, well, that's just a better deal than what the other MPs are. So then you get all the seats within Parliament taken by internet advised MPs who are all independent, and then you have what I just want to get going now because we don't have time. Quick, grab your seats. Um, so because people make a fuss about internet security when you raise internet voting, got a really good idea for a better internet that is basically going to cost no infrastructure. I hadn't thought about it like that. What you're okay. So Alice and Bob are usually the people like in algebra. You start off with x as your variable, but if you need in cryptography a person, this is Alice. Now Alice has a phone and she carries it around with her most of the day, and usually it's charged, and usually it's not running at full pelt, right? This isn't doing anything right now. It's staying on. It's connected to the phone network and it's connected to the data network. Yeah, and that's all for this phone right now. The Wi-Fi connection isn't in use. Ooh. The Bluetooth thing can't really make it into my room next door. The Wi-Fi thing can. The Wi-Fi thing can make it next door, and that's about it. I've got a lot of spare processing power on here that I'm not using, and we're gonna invent this constant pi um, original that this has got some battery I'm not using. It's got some processing power I've got not using. It's got some capacity to send and receive messages through the air that I'm not using. And pi is specifically the bit that I can use that's not going to affect me. Because either my phone has some battery left by the time I put it on charge, or it's already run out, and I guess it wouldn't have mattered if it ran out 5 minutes earlier. Assuming that I always have it on charge, like it just never runs out of battery because I charge it often enough, then a little app on here can be getting a really clear impression of, well, how much extra battery do we have to play with? It's actually going to be better for your battery to be using more battery and then recharging more battery. So good catch there. Um, this one phone has like 3/4 of a phone in pi in it because I don't use this nearly to its capacity. I'm not supposed to use it nearly to its capacity. I mean, I don't think I use a whole quarter of what this could be if I used it as much as it can go and then I plugged it in as much as I needed to. No, not at all. All night I'm not using it. Okay, so we're making the new internet on these because I can put a website on here. and I can link up via Wi-Fi particularly. I don't know about the GSM thing, but the fact that we've got separate signals from this is going to make it super secure, and you wait till you see it. That I've got some. Oh, it's beautiful. Um, the it's epic. It's a new internet. Um, but it's so secure. It's so secure. Right now, when we, I mean, if you're watching this on this normal internet, then basically, for me to get my data to you, I've put it through one tiny pipe, and it goes to one center, and then maybe to another center, and then straight to you from one pipe. And it means that anyone along the pipe, or at the center, or anyone can listen and intercept the data. They can even change the data, maybe. I could call this tolls and bridges. You've got people that you have to pay tolls to, but they own everything. And then you've got the bridges that they sort of half benefactually let you use. Instead, if I turned on my Wi Fi as a hotspot on here, that takes a lot of battery, but we're not going to do very much with it. We're going to do the minimal amount possible with it. If I turn on my Wi Fi as a tethering hotspot, I can reach not just the person in the next room, but the person upstairs. I can reach someone who is outside on the pavement, outside of my window for sure. Um, and because I'm in a very dense part, uh, I'd be able to connect to about 6 different phones from here, at least. So obviously, someone who is connected, who is connected, who is connected, we can pass the message all along the way through and not have used the internet. If one of us has an internet connection, say, we can all link up the phones, and 6 people without internet get internet because one person has internet. Cool. If you had more and they're all linked together, then you could just make everyone's internet faster by sharing some of the work that, okay, well, your phone can download a bit of it and my phone can download a bit of it because my phone wasn't doing anything. So I'll download a bit of it and then wish it over to you. And it's quicker to wish it over to you than to get it from the server. Cool. And if it's just a latent thing of like everyone on the server has a little bit extra pie that we can be sneaking into, then great, everyone just gets a boost. But if the files that we're interested in are saved on our phones, like if I make my website on my phone, and then obviously there's a distribution app that links you onto this network and gets your phone helping out the network and also able to look at stuff that's on there. Well, if it sounded good so far that, you get to have, if you do this across a city, then anyone in that city, even if they don't have Wi Fi or if they don't have any kind of contract at all, they can still get on the internet. Even better than that, say I get a message from Bob. He wants to look at Alice's site. My phone has Alice's site on it. I can send it to Bob, but I'm not going to send it to anyone in between. It's weapons grade cryptography. I mean, security at least. We don't have to. We can cut the message in half, but no. 'Cause we have Alice's site on it. I can send it to anyone in between. It's weapons grade cryptography. We don't have to. We can cut the message in half, but no. 'Cause we have Alice's site on it. I can send it to anyone in between. It's weapons grade cryptography. First, we encrypt it, and then we cut it in half and send the two halves in different directions, saying they both have to get to Bob. Now, if we do it correctly, no one on the system knows how many packages were going to Bob. Certainly no one gets all of the message that was going to Bob, and no one gets all of the instructions about like where the messages to Bob were going. They all make their way independently. You got the message and you got a little header saying, where's it off to? The points along the way will ask, have I already had a bit of this message? And if they have, they're like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. And they won't download that message. Nothing gets read by your phone or sent out by your phone unless it's something that you've given explicit permission for. Like it's the kind of thing that you've said, yeah, I'm okay with all of those. You can limit it if you want so that it would only give you, well, say you don't want to use all of what your phone could use but isn't using without it making much difference. Maybe you want even less difference than that. And okay, set a cap on it. But the main use is for voting, because you don't want. What was the problem with the American system? I mean, not that there was a problematic system, but there was a problem facing the design that you don't. You want people. You want to know a vote came in for. You want to know that a vote came in for Biden, and then you want to know that this person has voted, but you don't want those to be together. And so my initial idea was like, well, just separate these things, but you can separate a whole message. Just if I encrypt it and I split it into two, there's nothing you can do to get that message back. Like it's like half of the information about each letter is missing, but worse. It's just you can't. Um, the information isn't there. I mean, assuming a certain amount of diffusion. But we can assume a certain amount of diffusion for sure. And then once you have this network, the problem that I've had with this, I went into circles afterwards and it wasn't a problem. I got good circle stuff. The problem I've had with the mesh networks is it's so pretty once you've got like, well, okay, all of these things are joined up. How am I going to send messages through it? And there's just so many ways, and it's lovely. I don't think we're going to have like one particular way to send messages through these pipes because you don't need to. And there's going to be different ways that are better for different things. Also had an idea for a social network that kind of tries to solve the problems with social networks from the beginning. So in my analysis of it, I found that it's very, if you're trying to be the social network or accidentally become the social network that grows the quickest, you want each person's individual data to be as visible as possible. You want every interaction that I have with the social network to be visible to as many people as you can so that there's more stuff on there for other people to relate to and there's more stuff there for each person. But that doesn't work out very well for creating nice environments to be in because it way too favors shouting and just sort of, if you want to be heard on such a platform, the only way to do it is to be heard by as many people as possible or just your few. So I was thinking about how to make a sociable social network and privacy, all of this stuff I've thought about before, and like, what is the policy of the perfect social network? It's not too hard to be just user-centric. Um, and if you're not trying to fleece anyone, you can be comparatively extremely generous. If you don't have to have each person connecting to as many people as they can, then you can have degrees of relationality between people. That we have people that we're closer to and that we're further from, and we expect different privacy norms and also etiquettes. They're different kinds of spaces. And so my first idea is you have a family relation that, okay, I'm linked to this person, family relation. And stuff I share with family isn't necessarily the stuff I share with the outside world. Certainly stuff I share with, my teenage friends isn't stuff that gets shared with family. Um, and of course, if age is a concern, you could have supervising accounts, which I don't know if they've been done, and they seem like they could be done in a really good way. Uh, anyway, then like workmates would be its own group, and again, even if there's no taboos about it, just stuff that you share with workmates might distinctly want to be different to stuff that you share with outside work mates. So you have these kind of relations, and then the type of situation where it's not like family, where if I'm related to this person and they're related to that person, then it's like gradated relations. There's also the kind of relation where we all work in the same workplace. And if I work with one of you, I work with all of the other 39. So add me to that instantly. I want, okay, so this is called a clique. I want the cliques to be like the basis of sort of the social unit. Because you can moderate as a clique as a safe space amongst yourselves pretty easily. Even if it's a family clique, you can have, well, three people in this clique of eight said that this person was kind of jamming the airwaves with stuff we didn't like. There's a way to very diplomatically lower that voice, or maybe send them like a anonymous warning type thing, and it will be to do with, well, some people from the clique have said, please, we're not into that. There would be plenty of spaces for that person to go and speak that kind of thing elsewhere, because cliques are meant to be, there would be a kind for everyone. I really don't like the idea from the outset of policing anything, but the cliques are also driving how do you meet new people in a social network, which is, I feel, a relatively unsolved problem. At the same time, I don't want thought bubbles to emerge. So cliques, they're a self-contained unit that have a certain permissions attached to them, depending on your relation to that clique or that clique's relation to you. Is it going to show you all the personal data, which we don't in fact need to invite you to do that. If it's going to be social, there's only so much that you need to say about yourself, and there's some stuff that we, the social network, can ask you which just isn't appropriate. And if we don't really allow you to make your own privacy mistakes, that's even better than, I don't know. Cliques. So good example is if like the workmates clique meets another workmates clique because they had a pub quiz, then a few days before and after, it seems good to just join the cliques together in this third space that comes up that's just for these two cliques. You met them in person is the qualifier to, do they get to see a little bit more data? Do they get to have a little bit more access to you? And what is that? To be able to identify you and to be able to speak with you. The amount of trust you would sort of expect and need for that kind of interaction. Then a different thing completely, I could follow a football club, and when that football club has a match against someone else, then there will be a clique made for both of those. What is a clique? Well, it's a feed, I guess, a mixture between a chat room and Reddit, it sort of seems. That you can write words or you can write posts, um, and it would be going in real time. Yeah, this is another thing about why we have cliques, because two really good reasons. It's to do with, in both cases, you want to run out of stuff to read. So if I'm reading my family clique, I'm reading my friends clique, I'm reading my workmates clique, in each case I can finish. And then, okay, I've got some other cliques that I can check, and sure, I can indefinitely spend time on the internet. But as a social network, we don't want to invoke like indefinite loops anywhere. And you sort of don't do that here. And even if like your fourth clique was the video games channel that's just constant, there's going to be loads of stuff in the widest video games clique. Still, once you've read it all and then some new stuff comes in, hey, we can even do that on our side. Say no cliques are big, so big that you can't finish reading them. That seems perfectly reasonable. Um, yeah, and so then when our football teams meet, then obviously the cliques get together, and this is meant to sort of constantly stir the groups of people that you have access to on the internet uh, in a directed and useful way. The other reason to want to have cliques that are small and that you can read through all of the list entries in is because that if I ever apply an algorithm to choosing which thing comes up the highest, first, that gives way to sensationalism and politicization, that you judge the contentiousness of things that way. What way? With an algorithm? Yeah, kinda. I mean, like, language has, and communication has. Hello? Yeah?
Hi, darling. Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good. I'm just going to ask you about hair and stuff, when we can do it.
Oh, sure.
If
Tomorrow?
you have time. I know the last time, like sometimes I go out and then that's
That's
how
okay.
it is.
Should we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't want to go anywhere tomorrow. I'm so tired.
Okay.
Okay.
How you doing?
Anytime, like, I'm not getting up early these days, so.
I mean, sometime in the afternoon?
Okay. I'm also wearing these, although they never suit me.
Yes, I like it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Everything all right with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you get your drawers down? The furniture.
I got the drawers here. Yeah, thank you.
You probably could have done with two, right?
No, it's all good. I mean, I haven't really. I've been doing a lot of math.
How did you get it down the stairs? Well, I guess you just did.
Pretty helped me.
Yeah, I just showed you.
I got some new theorems. That
Some new?
theorems, like new proofs in mathematics. And it's made me feel a little wonky because
Why?
because it's like as soon as I tell someone, it's going to be a big deal. And
Okay.
it was already that way, and then I got more stuff. And
Did you release it on your YouTube channel?
I've got some discussion of things on there.
You still haven't looked up on there, because sometimes I would like send you a message and I don't want to come down.
Yeah. I don't have your
But I
number.
mean, tomorrow then we'll change it, yeah?
Okay.
Let's change it. So I'm going to go to bed early tonight.
Sure.
Well, I'm trying, but I'm not going to bed before 2.
Hey, it'll be okay. If you want some hash, we can smoke some hash.
You know I do it.
Okay.
You are funny. You are very funny.
You want to give it high? Completely derailed. Oh, that was The Social Network. Yeah, but Logic is way better. Is it? Yeah. Logic is more precious and rare. There's one logicization per universe. Or I guess per extinction, I don't. So keep living, please. Wow. We got the symbols. Okay, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna go away. Next time I come on YouTube, I've got a plan. It involves emojis and symbols. That's where we're going. Over there. You know. And you know what? I'm lonely as hell.